through your production and the years that it took to create this beautiful film.
Sure. I talked about that a little bit at the top, so I can say that 2020, Laura Smith came to me after they got into the first World Cup and had the idea, because it was the first time that a Caribbean women's team had gotten into the World Cup. And so they didn't do great the first year, but they had like even more stories of things not going well because they didn't have the funding. Like Sedella was supporting them as well, but it was like all very last minute and unexpected. This time they knew what to ask for, so even though they were under-resourced, there was a chance. So we got to know the girls, the players, and we worked with Sedella Marley, Bob Marley's daughter, who you saw in the film, and Red Bull came on when they qualified again. And so, I mean, obviously nobody knew how they were going to do, and I feel like my job, obviously, I'm not Jamaican, and I wanted this to be their story and to just tell it. And so we're working very closely with Sedella Marley to help know how to represent the country and the players, because for me, the country was a big part of the film and how it was shown and how people understood it. It was amazing, and then that Red Bull came in and supported us financially to get to the finish line. And we also, you saw, but the soundtrack was amazing. That was Bob Marley music. We work with Tough Gong. We work with Universal Music. And they came on also as partners. Like, we really had a lot of support that way. And I feel like we were careful to make sure that as much as they had hardships also, I think in countries like Jamaica where there's not a lot of resources for the men's or the women's team, so we were careful. Obviously, men's soccer, I think Trudy says it in the film, she's like, we're not asking, like, there's different pay rates for both, but I can say that obviously we see here in the United States, if you follow soccer and football, in the UK, in the United States, it's a very different ball game from 10 years ago. And I just feel like the more that we as an audience and people can see these players and meet them and see what they go through, like, we'll tune in and watch them. And I'm really excited for next year. The players right now, so you saw they all got teams. They're doing amazing. Qualifiers are right now for the 2027 Women's World Cup, and they're doing awesome. All the players that are featured, all the Jamaican players that are featured in the film, are in this team again, and I'm super excited for what they can accomplish. And my hope for this film is that people will tune in and see what they're about and want to follow them, because, and what's like the broader picture that I'm interested in making this film along with the other filmmakers was, in bringing more attention to women athletes, because I think the more that we can meet them and get to know them, the more we'll understand and want to tune in. It's not just like you're watching just random players. You're like, oh, you get a vested interest. Like, I think a lot of the really big male players, we know them. Like, everybody knows so much about their lives because they're all over the place. And I think, so my hope with this was that people would get to know them, to tune in. Once you know their stories, you're rooting for them in a different way, beyond the fact that they're just great athletes and they're fun to watch play regardless.
No, absolutely. It was full of joy and tenderness. And as a woman, I think obviously it's very empowering seeing them up there, but also knowing that it's been directed by two women, Sedella's support. I mean, what was that like for you as a female director, getting to direct them? And yeah.
I mean, I was really grateful that they trusted us and they gave us their time and they were generous, and they let us in. I mean, it was a long time. We were like talking to them starting 2020, so we were around for a long time, and they were very patient. And also wasn't, it was hard. I mean, there were days where they wouldn't want to talk to us when things were going bad, and we would just be sitting in the hotel lobby, like, waiting for things to happen, and just everybody was in a bad mood, and we were just like dancing that line of like, but like, even then they would say, okay, you can come and film, but it's like, they were very vulnerable with us, and I think that's why the film could be good.
Great, I would say. Also, Sedella, who you've mentioned a couple times now, I loved seeing her in there and kind of the family and the spirit of the family and the music thread all throughout. Can you talk a little bit more about how that shaped the story? And it sounded like she worked with you on the story as well.
100%. Yeah, she was an EP, executive producer. We couldn't have done it without her. The team, I think that Film Shows could not have done it without her, and the Bob Marley Foundation, who, their support through her. And she just made so many things happen. And honestly, the film doesn't even show the half of it. Like she was very involved, and she really, she was like their mom. Like she just took that on, and it was really important to me that was the story, because if she hadn't have done that in 2014, like the team would have been disbanded. And they say it, I think this film speaks for itself, the only reason they were there is because she stepped in and shepherded them. And she's really dedicated now to Football is Freedom, an organization that really helps young women be able to play. Because I wanted to focus, me and the other filmmakers wanted to focus on this being a feel-good story and celebrate what they accomplished. And not how much there still is to accomplish, but compared to the opportunities that young women have in the United States, there's just not the same number of clubs or teams. So Stella's really focusing on that now, and I think the reason that we see Angel City and other football teams around the world is because of other women supporting women. And so to me, it's not like that's the truth of what it is, and I felt like that was an important message to get out there of women helping women. That is what it is.
Yeah, it was powerful. Definitely felt that all throughout. I will open it up to the audience. Do we have a mic runner? Yes.
I love the film, thank you. I just wanted your opinion on whether you think the struggles for the women in that particular country were more based on sort of a general chauvinism or political corruption, because you see the friends of some of the players, male friends, being really supportive, but just wondering what your thoughts were.
I'm trying to think of how to rate what's worse, the corruption or the chauvinism, because I think both. I think it felt like being there, you were back in time, 40 or 50 years in terms of how women's rights, where they're at with women's rights, where they're at with, or today. Yeah, right, or here. And so, they already have very limited opportunities, and I think, so I think it's both. I mean, where did that money go? There was $1 million. But I do think that, and again, it's kind of like what Trudy said of we're not asking for equal pay. And I think that's why festivals like this, screenings like this, films like this, watching women's sports, watching stories about women is crucial to getting the support from the federations, from the sponsors, from the brands. I think it's important for us as the public to say, yeah, we want to watch women's sports. We want to, because there's so much attention. A lot of my friends who are from the Caribbean or just follow football. I mean, I think the rest of the world football is probably the number one sport, obviously, and they couldn't tell you one female player, and yet they'll get up at 4 a.m. to watch one. And I think that's changing. An awesome experience for me was going to Australia, and it felt like every single bar and every single person in the city. I mean, there was outdoor games, every single sign, everyone was wearing Matilda hats. There was people from all over the world. Every single stadium was sold out. It was to watch those games here because of the time change, you had to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm excited for Brazil because it'll be the similar time zone, and I'm hoping that there's more people that can tune in and there's more people that can go from here, because I think this is a very long answer to your question, but I think that some of it is just us needing to watch more. There still is more attention on the men. So that's the part where I think to support them and make the case is kind of where I feel is important for the public role, because both exist, the chauvinism and the thing, but I think we can make change.
First of all, thank you so much for that film. It was very powerful. two questions. In the first confrontation, I'll call it, to the FIFA gentleman, did anything happen in that from in the country or people talking about that? They said, we spent 50% of the money, right? So where'd the other 50% go was in my mind. That's one question. And then at the end, I saw, with the women players going to those teams. What about the other women? What happened to them? Where are they now?
Answer to your first question, I think that's everyone's question, because what you see is the answer that the players, there was never an answer. And to be honest, we cut out like half of the things that actually happened because the film is like that it is, but I think you get the sense of it. And also, we wanted to show that Jamaica, despite that corruption and question marks, the Federation still does support. They're supporting them now. We wanted to be careful that moving forward, they continue to get supported. So we wanted to show that. But that question, I think, is everyone's question. And as I was saying before, I think the fight continues. We used to have an ending that was like that. And then I was like, no, you know what? Let's give them this win because we all know that the fight continues. So they're still working through it. But again, they're going again. They're doing well. They have more resources this time. I think the more media attention that's on them, that will change. And the answer to the other players, who are also amazing, and it was sad that they couldn't go. But we focus on the Jamaican-born players, our four main characters. And a lot of the players who are Jamaican live in the U.S. or the U.K. and some in Europe. And then all of the players now, including obviously the Jamaican players, since this got signed to clubs around the world. It was really hard for them to do before because, like Trudy said, Jamaican players weren't sought after. So the Jamaicans who were living in other countries had an easier time getting on teams. And so the players that didn't get accepted, they are still playing professionally. They just weren't playing for Jamaica. So it wasn't like their careers ended or something. And I think, honestly, the fact that the Jamaican girls were in the heart for them, it was it meant the most. I shouldn't say that. Coming from where they came from, it was the biggest. It felt like a really big win, and so we wanted to focus on their stories. But the other players obviously was great for everybody.
Hi. Thanks again for the film. Really good. I was curious from a filmmaker and a film team's perspective, going into the Brazil game and watching that unfold in the mindset of what story can you tell based on how this ends? What was sort of that feeling and that feeling as it's going, and then the feeling once they tie in advance and you're like, oh, this is a crucial plot point in the documentary now?
Yeah, I can't say enough about how awesome it was to be at that game. I've always been a Bob Marley fan. It's not how come I'm doing this movie by any means, but it makes it more fun for me. And I think the message of Bob Marley has always been, huge human rights advocate. And to have them win and then hear Three Little Birds and then play One Love and every single person in the whole auditorium singing that, it was surreal. It was surreal. And I was in the stands because I was, my camera person, we were all sort of separated at that moment because we weren't allowed to go, I wasn't allowed to go down on the field. And I was just standing next to people and they were just people were just in awe. It was an incredible, incredible game. People were just what? This team is incredible. And, FIFA footage is expensive, so that game's only 1 minute in our movie. But the whole game, if it was out there, I would tell you to go watch it because it was such an awesome, fun game to watch. The crowd was amazing. And, yeah, that Brazil game was just off the hook. All the games, but especially that. I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, okay.
Any more questions from the audience?
I have a question. Although I don't need the mic. I'm just curious if you can speak a little bit more about why the cancellations happened for the friendlies going into that and sort of
I think it goes back to what happened to the other $500,000. Like, we knew what the girls knew, which was nothing. I mean, there was no explanation given that I was aware of, or that I know that they were aware of. It was just, like, that's why the coach was like, we're not even going to talk about it. And they didn't even bother asking, because I think, this is my impression, but in the meetings, like, the coach said, I'm not going to talk about it. And so it was kind of like understood that somebody dropped the ball. And I think, how do I say this? But, like, I think I leave it up to all of your interpretations. But, you know, I think you could just figure that somebody wasn't. I think it's like what I said. The reason that they didn't get the Puerto Rico game on the camp in Jamaica, which, like, I mean, everybody was so excited. Again, movie trims it down, but, like, all their families were planning to come. It was the first time it was such a big deal that they were going to have a big game. And then they said they couldn't get the stadium. Another thing we didn't show is, like, they couldn't even get the stadium to practice. Like, they were playing in Arnett Gardens, which is, like, a very rough neighborhood. We had to have, like, guards with us. They had to have guards with them. Like, it was a rough area. It happened to be, like, Trudy's neighborhood. But, like, they're so used to not having the resources that, like, they don't complain about everything. There was one time when the bus broke down and they couldn't get to, you know, it's like stuff. I think that it just got to a head when they did the post of just all these things. It wasn't one thing. It was just constant, unfortunately.
How much did Adidas spend on them? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know. But, like, obviously that camp, I mean, they treated them like, and that was like Sedella, the relationships with Ajax, with Adidas, like, that was pretty awesome. And you know, they're still supporting them now. I still think, again, in order for Adidas to, so we're on the festival circuit now, and like I said at the beginning, I'm really grateful to DocLands for showing this, because we're working on getting our distribution. And I think the more that these kinds of stories can get told, the more that sponsors and brands will support them, because we have to show, like, people will be watching and tuning in, because there's a little, you know, they give them a certain amount, but I think, like, the reason I would argue that Angel Cities is doing so well is because they had so many advocates. Like, they have Sedella. And, like, you know, there's, I think, it took a lot of powerful people, mostly women, supporting Angel City to get what's going on now. I mean, I don't know if you know, but you go to an Angel City and, like, it's full, like, the full stadium, because people are that shifted because of promotion, because of funding, because, you know, so it's like these guys are early days, one person to get where they are. And also, obviously, tremendous athletes that just need to be. I mean, the fact that they did that without one friendly game. I mean, they had, like, playing a high school team and then going against Brazil. Like, that's insane. Like, and like, you know, again, they don't, as you see this in the film, and this is real, they don't complain. Like, they just chose to just stay focused and keep going. You don't see them sitting around. Yeah, they're like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do everything that we can. And it's like, I think, a good example of determination. But again, Sedella still needed somebody on their team backing it.
We're almost out of time, but I know they have Sedella's support. What can people in the audience do to continue to support this film?
Good question. I think look out for it. I mean, mostly I want people to just see it because I want people to tune in and follow the players and follow the Jamaican team and follow women's football and soccer. And so spread the word, tell your friends. We're looking for a home for distribution right now, and so hopefully there'll be news. I wish I could say there was a place that you could tune in, but I think just keep an eye, and hopefully we'll have enough promotion once the film comes out wider that you can tell your friends where to see it. We're still on the festival circuit now, so yeah.
Well, I have no doubt people in this room will help spread the word. Thank you so much for being here, Trish. This was a fabulous film. It was joyful, fun, powerful. You did such a phenomenal job. Please give it up one more time for Trish Dalton.
Thank you.
And Reggae Girls. Thank you all so much for joining us for DocLands, and we hope to see you again next year. Thanks.